with the first and goal. Kuhn gets the ball. Pyle driving his way in for the touchdown. What a great second effort. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. I said so. I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty like blood. So ain't got no twist in my head, but I'm still dreadful.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Week 9 Fantasy Football Preview Show. This is the Fantasy Fullback Dive brought to you by the good people at the Roto Street Journal. We're paving your way to fantasy glory. We're feeding fantasy wolves. We're breeding fantasy wolves. I, of course, am your host, Now the Truth Jones. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. We're both having bad hair days, Wolf. We're going to fight through it.
Horrible. Awful hair days, and honestly, awful news as we're going live. Literally, not even a second ago, right as I was about to hit the live button, Brandon Aiyuk is going to be out. What the fuck? Out of nowhere. Contract tracing. He's ruled out. He's done. God damn it. Like, I have all my receivers on bye. He was the one thing to be excited about, and now I'm going to be scrambling. So, Wolfpack, we're going to hit you with your Hail Marys later. I've got a great Hail Mary that I'm actually thrilled about for a higher, lower Hail Mary that I'm probably now going to be using it everywhere. I picked him up just in case anything happened like this. I did not expect this. I thought I had some good Thursday night fun coming to me. Do you own Brandon Aiyuk anywhere? Like what? I
have owned him multiple times this year. Got rid of him right before he got really good.
Yeah. So you're not overly pained by this news. It fucking sucks.
No, I'm not. I've been there's a chance that someone is trying to get a certain Antonio Brown from me and has Aiyuk, but I value Brown more than him.
Oh, way more. Absolutely. Yeah, way higher ceiling.
We're going to talk about that, I hope. I have some Antonio Brown questions, so I hope he's going to be featured prominently in this podcast.
Sure is. Yep, he's coming later. We got a loaded agenda. Tons of news to cover with this one, obviously leading it off. We didn't really even get an intro because of it. My fault. I just kind of ranted right away, but honestly, who are they going to throw to? I mean, no George Kittle, right? He's done for probably the year. We have Kendrick Bourne knocked out from COVID. Now we have Brandon Aiyuk because of contract tracing going to be out for the game. I mean, is this game going to happen? Like who are they going to throw to? Jordan Reed? Is he even playing?
Is it time to bring Michael Crabtree back to the Niners?
Seriously, I have no clue. Like honestly,
Owens maybe.
Is it Trent Taylor? Is he the next one? But like, I don't know.
Did you just make that name up right now?
No, Grant Cohen, a longtime guest.
Oh, okay. Well, Grant said it. I mean, we love Grant. So
yeah, we love Grant. He loves Trent Taylor. But I mean, honestly,
all right.
You can't have any investment in any real Green Bay Packer passing option outside
Green Bay Packer. Aren't we talking about the Niners?
I mean, the Niners. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Against Green Bay. Yep. You can't have any option outside maybe the tight ends. Now maybe Jordan Reed or Dwelly, whoever the guy is, will just be bathed in targets because who knows who else there is to throw to. But
for Nick Mullen?
From Nick Mullen himself, yeah.
Right. Nick Mullen
loves to pepper tight end, shockingly. I mean,
it won't be George Kittle.
And that's the thing. Is it a Kittle stat or is it a tendency? Probably.
I don't know, dude. The Niners are we are really getting right into it right now, aren't we?
Kittle, I will say, though, he averages 19 points in Mullen starts. He averages 11 in Jimmy Garoppolo starts. So
he's averaging 0 for the rest of the year.
So that's just maybe we're going to get a monster like Jordan Reed day at this point. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Brandon Aiyuk being out, but this is just devastating news to go on the air live to. I mean, do we just keep ripping through the news at this point? Let's
just go right into it. Let's go right into the news and trainers room, segment 1. Let's get it right into it. Aaron Jones and the Packers running back situation. Aaron Jones is questionable for week 9 against the 49ers. Isn't A.J. Dillon, doesn't he have COVID?
Yep. So that knocked out Aaron.
I don't mean to laugh at him. I just am like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, exactly. Not only does A.J. Dillon just going to like ruin you if you put him in your lineup, he's going to ruin any shot you had at Jamal Williams too. He's going to be out now. So if Aaron Jones does sit, again, this cautiously opted, like the training room for the Packers has always been, above and beyond cautious with these types of situations. So I don't know if I expect him to go. It was pessimistic as of Tuesday. Today, he got in a limited practice. He's listed as questionable. I mean, they have really no one else, though.
Nobody else.
You see Tyler Irvin. Tyler Irvin is literally
Dexter Williams.
Who?
Dexter Williams?
Yes, Dexter, the fucking psycho on TV. Like, who? Dexter Williams? I mean, I can't sit here. CJ wrote about him yesterday. I haven't read his article yet. I can't sit here and pretend to know a thing about either Tyler Irvin or.
We're 5 minutes into the show. We're 5 minutes into the show. We've already spoken extensively about Nick Mullen, Jordan Reed, possible Jordan Reed sighting. I've made a Michael Crabtree reference. You brought up someone named Trent Taylor. And now we're discussing a Dexter Williams and Tyler Irvin potential combination backfield. It's a star-studded first 5 or 6 minutes of the fullback dive. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Rolling out the red carpet here at the fullback dive.
Surprisingly, Dexter Williams is still available in a lot of leagues.
Deservedly so. I mean,
literally every league you could pick this guy up right now. And I'm not telling you to do that.
No, but honestly, if Jones is out, one of those guys, if not both, will have some value because that running game is the backbone of setting up the play action. Of course, Aaron Rodgers is the spine of the offense, but it hinges on that run game, setting up the play action. They're going to try to get it going, whoever's behind there, and it is a well-blocked scheme, the Shanahan, Kubiak, and zone scheme. So Irvin, to me, is probably the more interesting of the guys. He has a pass-catching background. Could be that PPR dink guy. But at the end of the day, too, maybe it's Dexter who's more the big back because how are the 49ers going to put up any points tomorrow? Who do they have that they could actually use as a weapon besides Reed, McKinnon, like Hasty? Who, again, Hasty is your most dangerous weapon on the field? Like Hasty. It's going to be an ugly game tomorrow. Let's put it that way.
Think about the running backs going against each other. This is going to be incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot wait. All right, Matthew Stafford. He's been placed on the reserve / COVID-19 list by the Lions.
Yeah. And so this one, we don't know yet if he actually has COVID, if he was in contact with it. And there is a hope he could still play because he can test negative and still be able to get out there by Sunday. But we're going to find out some details as the week goes on. It's going to be Chase Daniels if he misses times, or maybe David Blau. Either way, that's not what you want to see behind center. David Blau did chuck it around a little bit last year, but you're already out without Kenny Golladay. Marvin Jones was looking like an intriguing stream against the Vikings cornerbacks that are just god-awful. Now his appeal would be obviously significantly less if it's not Matthew Stafford. Any of those, Marvin Hall or Quintus Cephas, these Hail Marys got to be tossed out the window if Stafford's not playing. And then ultimately, the Minnesota defense has been horrible all year, but with defenses being a complete fucking crapshoot. I know they're about like 2,400, I want to say, on DraftKings if you're trying to punt the position. If there's no Stafford, it makes sense to maybe look at Minnesota Vikings D as well. But it's not a lock he's going to be out quite yet. It's not like it was Cam Newton where he tested positive or anything of that nature. Do want to make a quick plug because we didn't really get our typical intro. And if you are watching live and don't mind giving us a thumbs up, whether you're on YouTube, Periscope, or Facebook, it helps us get out to more people. We greatly appreciate that. Any shares is also so greatly appreciated. I know we got off to a late start today, so we appreciate you waiting it out with us. And we're going to obviously dominate and get you ready for week 9 here.
Interesting little tidbit. Kenny Golladay out for the week. He's going to put up exactly the same numbers he put up last week.
Yeah. So exactly. Complete zero.
Probably get him for a bargain on DraftKings also.
Points per dollar.
Get literally the same production you got out of him a week ago.
Right.
Fewer targets maybe. All right. Saints wide receivers, Mike Thomas. Remember him?
Yeah.
He's practicing Wednesday, dealing with hamstring, ankle. And what did Jimmy did an article at some point. He talked about how he was dealing with like hamstring, ankle, and being a psycho or something. I forget the exact phrasing, but it made me LOL.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Solid Jimbo Slice stuff. Anyway, he is practicing, and Emmanuel Sanders, who had been COVID affected, is also practicing Wednesday. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, and we'll talk about Drew Brees a little bit later, but I think that obviously raises his stock to get 2 of his main weapons back. Jared Cook, who's been going off, maybe goes down a little bit, but he's still just a touchdown machine. And obviously these guys, tougher matchup against Tampa Bay, but Sunday night lights, like you got Antonio Brown coming in it. it has all the makings for a shootout, in my opinion. Even if the Tampa Bay defense is decent, they also struggled to stop Daniel Jones in clutch time. Besides that 2-point conversion, they kind of got
he's awful.
The non-call. So ultimately, Thomas is probably right back in your lineup. Sanders, I mean, now I might need to put him in for Aiyuk, for example. So depending on the state of your lineup, you might be using Sanders as well. He was a target hog in the absence of Michael Thomas. It'll be interesting to see if that continues with Thomas back. I obviously think he'll get a little bump down in the share, but also he's been pretty smooth in the red zone too. So I think both guys, very viable options, especially obviously Michael Thomas, right back in your top 15 weekly receivers. I don't expect him. They've been so cautious with him that if he's going to be out there, I think he's going to be ready to rip.
Can we talk about how bad Daniel Jones is for a second?
Of course.
He's terrible. He's awful.
God,
did you see some of those passes? I mean, it's just every pass he threw, it was just almost like anything beyond like 5-6 yards down the field was almost just dumb luck if it was anywhere near the receiver.
And they were running open too. Like
Shepard, they were running open.
Slayton were streaking down the field. If he had any type of talent, they could have blown him out almost, like the way those guys are running.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's horrible.
He's absolutely horrible. He's got to be one of the worst starters in the league. Who do you think's the worst starter in the league right now?
He's one of them. I mean, Kyle Allen starts games in Washington, although he's looked decent.
I don't think he's the worst. Well, you think it's Chris DiNucci?
Not anymore. Ben DiNucci.
Whatever. Ben you think it's DiNucci?
Yeah, whoever the fuck he was. It's going to be somebody else. It's Cooper Rush, I think is the guy's name. Like, not sure if he's a porn star or if he's the quarterback or the.
He's not yet. he's well on his way. Former Dallas Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush and his 17-inch schlong.
Yeah, delivers a big sausage pizza and touchdowns. Oh man!
All right, we got some stars. Calvin Ridley, due to his foot injury, is always sketchy for a wide receiver. He's not practicing on Wednesday.
Yeah, I imagine with the bye lingering next week, they probably take it easy and play it safe and rest this guy. And if they don't, that means he must be close to 100. So I feel like you're confident rolling him out if he does play. It's not going to be one of those like
not a scarecrow
risks, not a scarecrow. Because why would you risk it if you're them? But ultimately,
you got to save that 2-6 season.
Right, exactly. Like there's literally no incentive to rush this guy out at all if he's not going to be close to 100%. So my guess is that he's not going to play. That this missed practice would suggest that too. So you of course have your backup plan ready. I mean, Russell Gage is out there in well over 75% of leagues. My Hail Mary later, I want to just keep telling you, I'm so confident in this Hail Mary. So tune in for that later. I got a great wide receiver stream that I'm now going to be using. So we'll all be in together. But yeah, I don't expect him to go. I think he's going to be resting these next 2 weeks. And honestly, as an owner, I'd love to have him there, but I ultimately am like, please just rest him. Let's get him a couple weeks. Let's get him fully healthy. But if he's out there, I'm going to use him because I'd be confident at that point.
You were high on Ridley. You said he was gonna, he's gonna come back hard. I did not buy in. Now he got hurt, so that benefited me on that call. I don't know. I might have gotten lucky on one. I just don't believe in the Falcons at all. I know they got weapons, but God, they suck. Christian McCaffrey. This guy's been keeping you semi-erect for week and a half.
I mean, he's got my balls swollen.
Right. Seriously, he's teasing you completely now.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
dressing slutty. He's going to the bar, and then really giving you every indication that he'd love to go home with you. And then he's like, "Oh no, I got an early day tomorrow."
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Anyway, he has returned to practice Wednesday. Coach Matt Rule says he is, and this is a direct quote, very hopeful that Christian McCaffrey is able to return this week against the Chiefs. I know that there's more than just Matt Rule that are very hopeful that this guy could come back. The guy who has McCaffrey in my hometown league is 1-7. Oh. So, yeah, and it's a non-keeper league. He should have been trying to deal the guy like once he hit like 0-4, 0-5 because you're playing for each season. There's no keepers. You're sitting on a guy like that. I mean, he's already eliminated from the playoffs. So now he's just going to mess with somebody else. He maybe could have gotten value for him.
Right. Exactly. There is a certain point you cannot just sit on him. I was lucky enough to go. I went 2-0 with him and then I think 2-4 without him. So I'm now sitting 4-4. Not great. My points aren't great without him, but
Gotta
I'm
win.
alive, and now I get him back. I hope. I'm very hopeful. Like we all are. Of course we are. I'm expecting it, but also last week with the whole dramatic like jersey takeoff, and then he just didn't show up. I don't know if I can bank on it, and this is going to be tricky for owners that, for example, for me, I have Hasty on my bench, but it's like I kind of want to play him on Thursday just in case McCaffrey doesn't play. I already have used my running back because I really think Hasty's going to have a great day against that awful Green Bay run D. But then that would mean if he does play, I'd have to end up benching like Antonio Gibson. And I don't want to bench Antonio Gibson either. So it's a tricky spot.
You want to bench Christian McCaffrey?
No, not at all. And I would never.
You can't do that. You got to quit fantasy if you do that.
You'd never bench. If he's playing, he's in your lineup. I'm worried that he misses another game and then I don't play Hasty and Hasty has like 100 and a TD. But ultimately, it's worth the shot at McCaffrey. And I feel like if he was that close to playing last week, he should play this week. It's a tough matchup. The Chiefs aren't easy. But then again, it's going to be a lot of comeback mode. And that's where McCaffrey, dink and dunk, it does a ton of his damage in the receiving game. Mike Davis also just an afterthought at this point, as soon as McCaffrey's back on the field, of course, right?
Well, do you believe the blurb that, with Mike Davis looking good, like, McCaffrey might not have a full workload? I mean, I've seen that rumbled about. It's like, fuck that, right?
Maybe in his first week back. But once that rust is shaken off and a guy like McCaffrey who's had 7 weeks to recover now, I bet you it's full born. Just go balls to the wall, McCaffrey, per usual.
All right, let's talk Colts running backs. Both Jonathan Taylor, who was on both the 3 up, 3 down in the down column that I put on the site this week, as well as, I ripped that off from the podcast, which he was also on my 3 down list for the podcast. Dealing with an ankle issue. Jordan Wilkins, who got the lion's share of the carries in that just completely convoluted Colts backfield, he has a groin injury. They were both limited in practice Wednesday.
Man, who knows what's going on there at this point?
No,
it is such an awful backfield. 21 touches, 113 for Wilkins last week. Taylor, comes out that he has that ankle injury, which he's now questionable with. I don't know what to make of this. I imagine they all play and they all see 10 carries and nobody does anything. Like last week, it was such a great matchup. That's why we got great value out of it. But facing the Ravens now, one of the better run Ds, I think 6th fewest points allowed, 2 running backs. There's no reason to trot out a 3-headed nightmare. Not even Jonathan Taylor, your 3rd round pick, who's supposed to be a stud. I'm all done with this until told otherwise. Like they should all be on the bench.
Are the Colts the least fun team to pull for in the NFL? Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm just like, they don't move the needle for me at all. I know they're not the worst team in the NFL. They're not even close to it. They're kind of a middle of the road team. Like, there's nothing that gets me excited about the Indianapolis Colts. Am I supposed to get jazzed about Phil Rivers? What? Yeah,
Phillip Rivers, T.Y. Hilton? Like, enough?
Right, come on, man.
Doyle doesn't excite me?
No, Jack Doyle did it for me a few years ago. But, I mean, Phillip Rivers did it for me a few years ago. Shit. But, I mean, I wouldn't watch them if they're on TV playing themselves. Right, exactly. Mark Ingram, ankle injury, remaining sidelines at Wednesday's practice. Good. I mean, I know that you've been high on the Dobbins, Gus the Bus backfield potential. Obviously, we know the Ravens average tons of yards a carry. What you needed was to get rid of one of those guys. It seems like Ingram is the unlucky guy who is out for now.
And let's hope it stays that way even when he returns, because it was so clear when you gave these guys a chance to establish a rhythm. Look what happened. 1687 and a TD for Gus. 15 and 113 yards on the ground for J.K. Dobbins. Both just dominating on their work. And that it makes so much sense. Running backs need to get into a rhythm to feel their blockers out. The blockers need to feel them out. And when we finally gave them a chance to feel these two guys out, it clearly worked. And so against a tough Indy team, the 4th fewest points to running backs, even better than Baltimore on the other side. Still, the Steelers were the fewest coming into the game, and they got bludgeoned for nearly 200 yards combined from these guys. So I like riding both of those guys back this week, running it back. Of course, Dobbins, the more intriguing, more the sex appeal to his play, a little bit more receiving upside. He played, over 60% of the snaps. But Gus Bus, he looks good himself. I mean, he's a
he looks pretty good.
Big body, quick feet, can also receive. Is going to get his touchdown. We'll talk about Bus a little bit later, but Dobbins definitely a start this week, and Bus is only 30% owned. Running back is such a wasteland. Like, if you're watching this and you need a running back, Gus is a great option this week.
Matt Breida, speaking of running backs that are not great options, did not practice Wednesday. He's got a hamstring injury. Why are we even talking about him?
Oh yeah. Fuck. I forgot a banner for Matt Breida. So
it's all right. We'll wing it.
Well, just Matt Breida. Yay. Let's just put his name up here.
There you go.
Matt Breida. What do we make of Matt Breida this week?
Not much.
Supposed to inherit like the role, because we got Myles Gaskin knocked out for 3 weeks. And we talked about 88% of the snaps last week, had seen over 18 carries in 3 straight weeks without Howard. There's a good chunk of volume now up for grabs. And it was looking like Matt Breida, explosive from the 49ers. Could be that CJ Spiller for Chan Gailey, who used to make money out of CJ. I just wanted to bring up your favorite player. CJ Spiller.
I can't believe you remember that shit.
Of course I remember that shit. He's going to feed till he pukes, according to Nathan Hackett. Oh, God. But when he was actually good, the year before you took him in number 2 overall.
It wasn't 2. It was like 4. But
yeah, either way.
I passed on Jamal Charles, like absolute peak Jamal Charles.
Yeah, the first year at the Chiefs, Jamal Charles. I remember that. Yeah.
So I had him. I was in 3 leagues, and I had Jamal Charles in the other 2 leagues. And I thought, well, I don't want to go all in on this guy. On the best player in fantasy. Yeah. I really need CJ Spiller.
Oh man. But when Spiller was actually good, it was with Chan Gailey. The whole reason I brought him up.
He was really good for like half a year.
He was great, explosive talent. And Chan Gailey knows how to get those guys in space. But Gaskin's been having a pretty quality under the radar, even fantasy season. So it looked like Matt Breida was going to be that guy. Now he sits out practice, his first kind of chance to be the workhorse here, has a little hamstring ailment. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen now? Is Jordan Howard going to suddenly become relevant again? He's certainly going to be active again. I still think Breida's worth a stash. He's got talent. He's explosive. This backfield can yield big totals, but this is worrisome that he hasn't even had a full start yet, and he's already.
But like, how many bench spots do you have? Because I mean, you can say someone's worth a stash. It's like he's not worth a stash on my bench. Like, I don't have anybody on my bench as bad as Matt Breida.
We have a deep ass bench. Yeah, he went for like 12 waiver wire bucks today.
Breida did.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. It's an ugly waiver wire situation where I'm at. Yeah. It's horrible.
I paid like $9 for Carlos Hyde the other week and then dropped him the next day. And I have no money. It killed me.
Yeah.
Austin Hooper, potential. Speaking of potential stashes, potential stash for tight end. What do you think? He's got abdomen issues.
He does have abdomen issues, but he is now back at practice. He had an appendectomy, actually. Had to get whatever that operation done. But he's good to go now. And this is more so for Kittle owners or anybody struggling at tight end.
Which is pretty much everybody, unless you own Travis Kelce, right?
Just about right, exactly. Before going down for these 2 weeks, he had seen 7 targets in 3 straight games, 5 catches in all of them, double-digit PPR points in all of them. And that's pretty rare to have like a steady diet of targets and steady diet of PPR points at the tight end position. And that was with Odell Beckham there. So now we get another target removed, a big mouth to feed. Well, I mean, again, this is a run-heavy attack. It's not like this bombs away. It's not ever going to be Travis Kelce style volume. But 7 to 10 targets for a tight end is very viable. And that, again, was with their number 1 weapon still there. We've seen Harrison Bryant have some big days without him. David Njoku had a touchdown a couple weeks. Like, he could step into a decent top 7 tight end role, and he's out there in 65 to 70% of leagues right now. You have to wait a week, obviously, for it. But if you're struggling at tight end, like pretty much everybody is, at least take a gander and see, is Austin Hooper out there? Because his schedule is also cake moving forward as well. So an intriguing stash for the tight end needy, which, as you said, is pretty much all of us.
You said they're a running attack. Maybe somebody should tell Kareem Hunt that because, he was not overly impressive last time we saw him. And that's going to wrap. Hold on. I'm just getting one more across the wire here. Oh, this is a huge deal. Actually, everybody take a second. You're going to probably want to screenshot this, jot it down in your little secret fantasy notebook. don't tell the other people in your league. You're going to want to be the ones that are in on this first. The Jaguars, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is a direct quote also from a coach, they are expected to throw downfield more with new quarterback starter Jake Luton.
Holy shit.
Hey, podcast listeners, you're welcome.
Let's catch our breath here. Like that. I mean,
they're going to be gunning the ball down the field a little more with Jake Luton.
I mean, Jesus. Like we all listeners again, like catch your breath, put your pants back on.
Seriously.
Let's be real here. Let's be, keep this PG. But yeah, wow, wild, right? Cannot wait to see the gunslinging Jake Luton spraying it all over the fucking.
Oh God! If you thought that aerial pie was something before with Gardner Minshew, you wait until Jake Luton or Luton or whatever the fuck his name is gets his hands on it.
All over the yard, all over it.
That's going to wrap it up for, this obviously has no fantasy relevance at all.
Other than if you haven't picked up Houston's defense yet, who's facing.
Oh, fair enough. Right.
Who's going to be spraying it down the field.
You think J.J. Watt might get his hands on Jake Luton at some point?
I think J.J. Watt's going to eat him for fucking dinner. I think he's going to throw at least 2 picks, maybe 1 pick six, at least 3 interceptions. I mean, this dude comes out and sprays it all over the place, then maybe I'll just tattoo Luton all down my arm because this is a fucking joke. But hey,
But they're going to throw it down the field more.
You're going to throw it down the field.
More.
Right,
more than they used to. All right, we're going to move on to segment 2. This is our trading tip of the week. And this is all about, first of all, you got to know your trade deadline. I don't know my trade deadline in my league, so I'm glad actually that you mentioned that. To open up the trading tip segment. I really just have no idea when it is, but you should check that out. There is a point when it gets cut off for good reason. Nothing worse than somebody who's eliminated, playing a role in, fantasy outcomes for the rest of the year. So the trading deadline's there for a good reason. Make sure you know when it is. All right, so let's talk about strength of schedule and what you're going to need to win now.
Absolutely. 1 sec. Sorry, I had an alarm just going off in the background. I had to go. Toss that in. So my trading tip of the week, though, definitely at this time of year is paying attention to strength of schedule. And I'm going to bring in actually my screen here because I want to show you guys a couple tools that I love to use for trading. So one of them is, did that pop up, Nat? Is that
I can see it.
Sweet. So one of them is called the matchup calendar for fantasy pros. And as you can see, it kind of just emphasizes, you can see like the flow of a schedule really well. So like green, and then you hover over and it'll say, okay, Buffalo ranks 14th against the position in points allowed. Rams red, not a good matchup. 26th in terms of points allowed. Arizona 8th most points. So you can see like Russell Wilson has a pretty juicy schedule coming up. Not that anybody's out there trying to trade Russell Wilson. But if you're like in win now mode, maybe you can toss out some crazy offers, some packages to get him. So I love looking at this as like a holistic view. If I need to win now, I got to look at these matchups. Oh shit, Cam Newton has, 5 straight green matchups and he's been dropped in a lot of leagues. Maybe I pick him up and maybe he finds his mojo again, or maybe I buy low on him if I'm desperate, things of that nature. But I also love using that tool to then look at weeks. If I'm 6-2 right now, or 7-1, no, I'm making the playoffs. Well, let's look at weeks 14, 15, and 16. And you can get a sense of, Pat Mahomes gets New Orleans and Atlanta in 15 and 16. Holy shit. I really hope I'm not facing his team come back time. And you get a sense just like of who has these kind of tasty schedules. Also another tool that does a lot of the work for you with that is this one, the fantasyfftoolbox.com. They do a great strength of schedule grid where you can filter it by remaining games. So if you're in that win now mode, you can hit remaining games and then kind of filter like, okay, so Chicago has the easiest schedule for quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers. Good thing I don't give a fuck about that offense, but let me filter it by running back. I'll click on the running back tab here, and it will show me that for the remainder of the schedule, Chicago, David Montgomery, yay. Indy, shitty-ass Jordan Wilkins and fucking Jonathan Taylor, yay. But okay, Dalvin Cook, oh shit, he has the third easiest schedule. Detroit, baby, DeAndre Swift has some buy low right now appeal with his schedule. Derrick Henry, the steamroller. And you can also do the reverse too and see who has brutal schedule. So Zeke Elliott has the worst schedule and his team's also blowing. If you can still get some type of name value for him, maybe it's time to do that at this point. So I love that as well. And then similar to that matchup calendar, you can click over here, fantasy playoffs, and it'll show you for weeks 14, 15, 16, who has the best. So like Brady has the easiest and his receivers have the third. So Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, like Brady, they're going to go bananas down the stretch in weeks 14 through 16. And you just get a sense for schedules. Big Ben, I have him as my quarterback, but if I'm planning ahead, oh shit, maybe I need to look elsewhere. Deshaun Watson, he's had a good little stretch run here. Maybe it's time to sell high on him and Will Fuller if you're a playoff bounded person and trying to, get in that nature. So I love just using those two tools as potential options for buying low, selling high, seeing schedule, the fftoolbox.com strength of schedule grid and the Fantasy Pros matchup calendar. Two of my favorite tools for trading that I absolutely love utilizing. And on that note, we're going to do a lot of, me and Kendall, one of our new writers, are looking at schedules, breaking them down. And the one that I will just sneak peek is Derrick Henry. If you own this guy,
talk to me. I own him.
Oh my God, Nat. Oh my good Lord. So everybody already knows Derrick Henry, December Derrick Henry. It's just like every month from now to the end of the season, his yards per carry go from like 4 to 5.2 to 5.8. Like we always know Derrick Henry, even when he used to suck, we'll just go ballistic down the stretch. But now down the stretch, not only are we just going to probably just get crazy ass Derrick Henry going for 5.9 yards per carry like he always does in December. Not only that, but his matchups for those last weeks 14, 15, and 16, it couldn't be juicier. You got Jacksonville.
Do you play like Dallas?
Jacksonville, the sixth most points, week 14. And just think about that, like Thursday night football game where he just throws like Jacksonville.
But remember, Jake Luton's going to be throwing the ball down the field.
True. They might take the air out of it all.
Yeah, things are going to be different by week 14.
It could definitely be different. You're right. So you got Jacksonville. That's the hardest defense he faces, by the way. Week 15, Detroit, second most points to running backs right now.
Detroit just seems like a team he would run for like 300 yards.
Yep. Same with Jacksonville. We've seen him run for 300 yards against Jacksonville, like literally 300 yards. Week 16, Green Bay, the most points to running backs. We just saw
Dalvin Cook just sliced them up like a fucking, I don't even know. What do you slice up? He sliced them up bad.
I don't know. A fucking psycho. Like right?
I started that analogy without having an end to it. Like I'm very excited about that. I do have Derrick Henry. My team's the type of fantasy team. We walk down the street as a team and people just get out of the way because I got Derrick Henry and I got DK Metcalf. Nobody's fucking with us.
Big ass fucking guns. But
I got some guns.
We'll be breaking down more of like who to look at and all that. Maybe next week. Maybe we'll even invite Kendall on to join us.
Yeah, bring it on, man.
But that's just one I needed to toss out there is do everything you can to get Derrick Henry. I don't know that his owner would ever sell him, but like if there's any type of package you can give up to get this guy, he's going to run for 900 yards in 3 weeks.
This owner's not giving him up. So anybody in my league listening, you can go fuck yourself. Yeah. All right. Segment 3, high or lower Hail Mary. First, before we get into your week 9 picks, it's time for a little bit of accountability. You entered week 8, 25, 21, and 2. One of the things we love about the Wolf is that he will take his lumps when he doesn't do as well. But he'll certainly bask in glory when he does do well. So those things. So let's talk about why don't you just really quickly run through the guys you picked and who you hit on and who you didn't.
Yeah, not a bad week overall. Ended up breaking up above 500 again, which is always the goal. Herbert was a win. I had him at quarterback 3. He was the quarterback 4, which is like 7 spots higher than the ECR. My lower was Stafford. He had his best game of the year, quarterback 3. That was an L. Derek Carr was my Hail Mary. The weather really fucked me on that one.
That was such a shitty game.
Just a shitty ass fucking game. So 1 and 2 for quarterbacks. Jamal Williams is my higher running back. He was running back 8 on the week. I still had him 10 spots higher than the ECR, even with Jamal Aaron Jones ruled out. McKinnon was an L. I said he was going to be my lower. He was the running back.
14 fucking fantasy points. He rushed for -2 yards.
Exactly. He should have been the stone cold lock, and somehow.
I hate to give you a loss on that one.
Exactly. -2 rushing yards. You'd think I'd win, but no. And then Hail Marys, I ended up throwing 2 out there. DJ Dallas smashed. Was running back 3. P. Ryan did not smash. Was the running back 45. So 2 and 2 at running back. Receivers did well. Tyler Boyd was the wide receiver 15. That was a win, 7 spots higher than the ECR on him. Slayton was my lower of the week. That was a big win. Wide receiver 40. My Aguilar car stack did not go so hot. My Hail Mary Aguilar put up a nice goose egg.
What a nightmare.
Bag of shit. 0 points. Definitely a loss. Tight end, Jared Cook was higher. He was the tight end 2 of the week. Henry was lower. Tight end 18 of the week. That's like the easiest one every week is fucking Hunter Henry. And
sure. He's the David Montgomery of tight ends.
Exactly. And they're too easy. I had both of them lower this week. I was like, I can't just say
rolling it out, man.
I can't just say the same people every week. It's just too easy. Dick Rod was my Hail Mary.
Yep.
And Goddard came back. But I'll still take the L on that. Like I would normally be like, oh, well, that's a push but I was also so high on Goddard that
fuck Goddard.
Fuck Goddard. Yeah, I deserve the L.
You deserve the L for making me so excited about Goddard.
I'm still excited, but
well, good because he's still on my team.
Yeah.
All right, week 9 picks. Let's get right into it. At quarterback, the guy a little surprised to see you higher on this guy because I feel like in general we're both kind of down on him. Drew Brees, you got him as a QB 13. That's only 3 spots higher than the experts. So you must be at least in the ballpark of the experts on a lot of these this week. Why do you like Brees a little more? Thomas return potential? What?
Yep. The weapons return. You got Sanders back, Thomas back, full cabinet. And even without a full cabinet these last few weeks in tough matchups against Chicago, Carolina, he's been the quarterback 10, 22 points, quarterback 10, 24 points, quarterback 8, 20 points across these last 3 with bottom 5 matchups. He's thrown 280 yards and multiple scores in all of these 3. In fact, this year he's thrown multiple scores in every single game but 1 week. So he's been steady. He's been pretty good. The ceiling's been getting higher and higher by the week, even without his weapons. So you get those guys back. You get the Sunday night shootout style feel. I love this one. I think he should throw, again, 290 to 300 yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns, and be a very steady. Again, I have him quarterback 13. I bet you he outperforms that, and he's like a top 10 guy this week. So I really like Brees.
Something related to Brees. The touchdown record that he and Tom Brady are now essentially just trading back and forth every week. I mean, in a way, it's kind of cool, to have, such a prestigious record, these guys going back and forth. Which, by the way, their totals are just both absolutely insane. I mean, I feel like it's like twice what it was when I was a kid, just about, or something. But at a certain point, I mean, they're treating every time one of them becomes the all-time touchdown leader like it's this huge breaking story, but it's happening like every single week. Like I feel like when Brees took it back earlier, they're like, Drew Brees is the all-time touchdown, and it's like Brady was going to play in like a few hours and was going to take it back from him. It's like I think maybe they should hold off a little bit on that.
Let's wait till the end of the year. Why don't?
Yeah, that's a good call. They should do that.
It's going to literally alternate all Sunday. Right. That's another reason why I'm excited for it, because both of them are going to be fired up. I'm
looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to the game for the same reason.
Be a great Sunday night game, and I think Brees in that shootout style game is getting undervalued this week.
Both the guy you're lower on. This seems like a really easy one. You got him as your QB 16. That's 5 spots lower than the experts. I'm actually surprised the experts have him as high as they do. I'm actually surprised you have him as high as you do. This is Matt Ryan we're talking about.
Yeah. He's kind of been a bag of shit this year, more often than he hasn't. And when he's been a bag of shit is pretty clear. When he loses either one of Julio or Ridley, this offense just kind of crumbles on itself. Over those weeks when Julio was banged up this year, weeks 3 through 5, Matt Ryan was the quarterback 27, 12 points, quarterback 25, another 12 points, robust, quarterback 25, 8 points. So, I mean, didn't even have a top 20 game, never mind top 15, where he's ranked number 11 this week. Probably going to be without Ridley. He does ball out when he has both his guys. Last week, he was bailed out by a rushing touchdown to finish as like the quarterback like with 19 points in the top like 12 guy, but you can't expect a rushing touchdown again for this guy. So
no, you sure can't.
On him. The matchup's not that threatening with Denver. They're not a great defense. But ultimately, without his full weapons cabinet, Matt Ryan has struggled 11 points per game this year without those guys. I think we're getting like another 12-point dud this week.
Well, speaking of Denver, and you were talking about their defense is not a great defense. I mean, the Chargers trio of running backs or whatever was that guy Pope or whatever, he was averaging like 6, 7, 8 yards a carry against that Denver defense for a while. Can you believe that Denver won that game? The Hail Mary this week is Drew Lock, 13% owned. So I feel like I can talk a little bit about Denver. Can you believe the Chargers lost that game?
No, that was pathetic. Absolutely. Just a ridiculous crumble. How many times are they going to blow these types of games?
I feel like I heard, but it must be wrong. I feel like they've lost 4 games in a row. They were leading 16 points like in the second half or maybe even like the fourth quarter or something. Yeah. I mean, it can't be correct, right? That's insane.
It seems it, but honestly, like you think that even on Monday night, like against the Saints, they were up going into the fourth by a score or two. It might be right. I don't want to put it on Herbert because he gets them up and then their defense just crumbles and they get conservative and
You're right. I mean, look, Anthony Lynn is a terrible, terrible coach. And I don't want to put it all on Herbert either. He did cough up one, at least terrible interception during the end of that game where I was just like, oh my God, like it was just a ridiculous pass. But anyway, Drew Lock and came down. The team can't score to save their lives. The guy came down 3 straight possessions in a row. Boom, boom, boom. They win the game. You expecting a little more of that out of Drew Lock?
I think so. Atlanta, what else needs to really be said when you're facing Atlanta? Most points to quarterbacks, most yards, most touchdowns, most everything to quarterbacks allowed this year. They get their quarterback, Denzel Denard, Darquez Denard, whoever that is, who allowed 20 catches on 31 targets. So, yay, good reinforcements.
Yeah.
That's pretty much every time he's targeted.
Yeah, so people talk about the 20 times that he gave up catches on those 31. They don't talk about the 11 times he stopped the person.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So think about that for a while.
and as you mentioned, Drew Lock was bing, bing, bing. Like seemed to finally get that moxie back we saw last year. The balls kind of sprouted. 3 touchdowns. Totally could throw 3 touchdowns against this Falcon team's giving up 2.5 touchdowns per game. I like Drew Lock, only 13% owned. If you're looking for a nice bye week fill-in or streamer, where else look against whoever's facing Atlanta, especially a guy riding that hot hand right now. I can keep that riding for sure.
All right. Running backs. I love this. The guy you're the highest on, Jerick McKinnon, running back 21, 9 spots higher than the experts. This is a guy you were telling us we had to cut 2 weeks ago. I said no. I said I'm not cutting Jerick McKinnon. I'm going to hang on to him because I think he's got another good game in him. -2 yards later, I was right. He had 14 fantasy points, and now here he is at the top of the higher list for running backs. Explain this to me right now.
Exactly. And this was even before Aiyuk got ruled out. Now they literally have McKinnon might play receiver tomorrow. I don't know who else they have to play receiver. So against a Green Bay team that's given up the most points to running backs, like they can be run on, and they particularly struggle against zone blocking schemes. I think Hasty's going to have himself quite a day because they really have no other offensive weapons right now. McKinnon, though, might now get split out wide and play a bunch of receiver. And even if not, he's the most game flow proof because he'll get his early series, but he's going to be playing plenty of pass catching mop up duty. That's kind of what happened last week against the Seahawks. That's how he stumbled into 14 points was the running back 16. Before he got like in that weird funk with the tired legs, and let's hope he's kind of snapped out of that bullshit tired leg. I never want to be higher on a fucking running back that complains about tired legs. Let's be real here, fucking loser. But ultimately, he started the year 13 points, 14 points, 17 points, 23 points, then just went missing, AWOL. But he back on that 14-point train with no other weapons and against a team giving up the most points to running backs. I mean, everything was less favorable for this guy last week against a tougher defense. Tevin Coleman was involved. There's nothing. Their other weapons were all there. Now there's literally no weapons, easier matchup. Coleman's not playing. It's just him and Hasty in the backfield. He's going to see some rushing work. He's definitely going to see some receiving work at this point. I think he's going to blow this running back 30 ranking out of the water by 10 to 12 spots.
All right. He's on my bench. I got to decide if I'm going to play him.
Who's the other guys? Who's your options?
I'll read you my starting lineup right now.
Sure.
I got Tannehill at quarterback, Derrick Henry running back, Chris Carson, who I'm assuming will be back at the other running back. Got Allen Robinson and DK Metcalf at wide receivers. I got Mike Gesicki because Goddard's on a bye. Tight end. Fuck that. And at flex, I got 2 flex spots. Right now, I got Chris Godwin and Justin Jackson. And on my bench, just so you know, on my bench, I have McKinnon, Antonio Brown, and Marquise Brown.
I would get Antonio Brown in there.
For who?
Well, let's wait till Antonio Brown comes up. We're going to talk about him.
I mean, Antonio Brown, man. God, I'm excited, and man, I'm nervous.
I mean, both of them, but
you like McKinnon more than Justin Jackson? Justin Jackson looked pretty good last
Justin
week.
Jackson looks great every time he touches the rock. I like Justin Jackson. I don't like Anthony Lynn.
McKinnon, when he gets like 0 points, I'm gonna be so mad at you and him.
That's gonna be the case. He's gonna.
Well, then I'm not starting him. No, it's not happening.
I'm not touching that backfield. I would probably have McKinnon over Jackson, but I'd probably have Antonio Brown over either of them.
All right. Fair enough. Melvin Gordon, guy you're lower on, you got him as your RB29. The experts like him at RB20. Seems to me like Melvin Gordon's maybe like his value might be plummeting a bit.
Yeah. Melvin Gordon fucking sucks, but
right.
He looks like a slug out there. He's kind of like the David Johnson effect.
I was going to say, it looks like David Johnson.
Slower and slower by the day, whereas Lindsey looks more explosive by the day. Now, granted, Lindsey is now on the questionable side. He might not play. If that happens, and then you just play Gordon as a David Johnson play, just volume, grossness.
They're playing
probably find the end zone. I still hate this guy. Like he just looks gross. Atlanta is very good against running backs in terms of just sheer rushing. They cut you out. They're pretty good. They've allowed the most receiving points to running backs. And that's where Gordon does his damage. I mean, he has 6 catches for 21 yards last week. Doesn't do anything special, but in a PPR league that has some
PPR points right there.
Exactly. But I just think this is going to be a receiver-centric game plan where Locke, again, with Locke being my higher, I think Locke comes out slinging it around. We get a big game out of all those, I think KJ Hamler makes a good streamer. Jerry Jeudy might rebound to a nice day. That's where I'm looking much more in this game. I'd rather have Lindsey personally out of the Broncos backfield here. Gordon just is getting bailed out by volume, and I think that's going to tilt because of how much better Lindsey looks when he's in there.
Hail Mary. I think I know your argument for this guy already. We've talked about it extensively, but you got Gus the Bus. Only 30% owned, even with the Ingram absence. Only 14% started. You like him as your running back 24. That's 9 spots above the experts. I actually feel like 24 might be a little bit low. And I think the experts are a lot low. And I almost think this puts him almost beyond Hail Mary category. But go ahead.
I think so, too. The fact that he's only 14% started tells me he must be a Hail Mary, because I would expect him to be 40-ish% started after last week. I mean, everybody's willing to just crown Dobbins, and I love Dobbins. This is not against Dobbins. The dude leads the league in yards per carry, 6.7, yards after contact, 4.2 per attempt, missed tackles, forced per touch. I mean, the dude has been as advertised. I love Dobbins. I think he's one of the better running backs in the league, and it's only a matter of time before he gets the volume to really prove that. Now, that being said, Gus Edwards has still led this team in carries in back-to-back weeks, even with Ingram out last week, 16 compared to 15 for Dobbins. Didn't look bad. It wasn't like he sucked and now is going to suddenly disappear because he sucked. 87 yards and a TD. Yes, he played only 26 snaps compared to 54 for Dobbins. That's a concern. He's not ever going to be the pass-catching guy. I get that. But against a banged-up Colts team, a Colts team that I just don't think is that good in general, I think the Ravens could kind of blow them down, and a lot of garbage just steamrolling with Gus. They do have a good run D, the Colts. The 4th fewest points allowed to running back. But again, as we said last time, the Steelers were the number 1 run D facing this team, and they gave up nearly 200 yards and 2 touchdowns to these guys. So I like Gus. I think he should be much higher started than only 14%. I think he makes a great Hail Mary at running back that should not be owned in less than half of leagues. Like, come on. All
right, let's get into wide receivers. This is what everyone's been waiting for. Let's talk about Antonio Brown. You got him as your wide receiver 23, 9 spots higher than the experts. Almost nothing would surprise me this week. I mean, I'd be disappointed if he doesn't do much. But I mean, if you told me Antonio Brown was going to play a handful of snaps and be the wide receiver 60, I'd be like, all right, and it's fair enough. I mean, he hasn't played in a year and a half. If you told me he was going to be like the wide receiver 4, that wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think won't be wide receiver 4, but I think it's going to be top 20 range. So many things going in his favor. Now, of course, we get Bruce Arians being like, he might play 10 snaps, he might play 35. Like, we don't know. I don't even, if he told me he was going to play the full game, I wouldn't believe him. He told me he's going to play one time, I wouldn't believe. I don't believe a fucking word that comes out of Bruce
Arians looks like he's one step away from having a heart attack all the time. I mean, he looks like he literally.
I feel like he's had one before.
Oh, has he? Well, now I feel terrible saying it, but I mean, I was looking at him on the sidelines of that game, and I was like, man, that guy looks like he could like just keel over at any minute.
Looks like his face is just going to explode.
Right.
Like, exactly. Right. Yeah, pieces of nose and ear like all over the camera screen at one point. Just literally ready to just blow up.
We digress.
But Antonio Brown, as I said with the brief, I think this game's going to be a shootout on Sunday Night Football. You know Tom Brady rooming with Antonio Brown right now, studying the playbook with him. All reports he's looked, quote, fantastic, his old self, as good as he's ever been. Well, if that's the case, as good as he's ever been, he's the best receiver in football if he's as good as he's ever been, because he was the best receiver in football when he was there and had his head on straight. If he's walking in just like that, he's going to eat. And you know Brady, like, first game back, they're going to have some series designed to get him comfortable, get him back going, get his confidence up. Just like he did with the Patriots his first game, caught a touchdown and it had like 3 straight catches on the first drive of the game. Like, it might not be the full game. It might not be every snap, but there will definitely be some design plays to get him involved. And when he's involved, he's gonna dominate. He's so good. Their corners suck. Lattimore's their best corner, and he's having a horrible year for the Saints. So he's gonna maybe get their third corner. When you think about how do you defend them? How do you?
Do you like Godwin also this week?
Yeah, I like anybody there. Like, I just think that offense is going to be impossible to stop, and it's going to be tough because there's going to be some weeks like just Evans disappears, Godwin disappears.
There's been a shitload of weeks where Evans has disappeared
already, right? Exactly.
Just not when I needed him to do nothing, and then he killed me. God, I'm still angry about that.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about our matchups this week.
I lost 147 to 146 on that Evans touchdown.
Yep,
you want to know who fucked me other than Dallas Goedert? Mason fucking Crosby. Fuck that guy. He scored me 2 points as a kicker. Thanks a lot, Mason. Couldn't kick one field goal. Jesus.
Dude. So I 2 years ago when we did I took the banner off just so we could go for a little Mason Crosby rant here.
Fair enough.
2 years ago, we were doing a live show at Fibbers. So I, of course, ate a bunch of ribs and then got blacked out after the show. Yeah. But the one thing, my last memory of the day was Mason Crosby. Maybe you even remember this. This is how bad this day was. I needed 3 points from him. He missed, I want to say, 5 field goals and 2 extra points.
Oh, I remember.
You remember that day?
Of course I do. It's like one of the most epically bad kicking days in the history of the sport. Of course
he hits one of those, I win. One out of 5. 1 out of 5. Just one. And it wasn't like they were all 50-yard bombs.
No, they were like 35-yarders, stuff like that.
It was a historic, like the fact that he has a job.
Right, he's still in the NFL, fucking people over years later. Thank you. He screwed me this week. I should drop it. Right? I should cut it.
He's the worst. He is by far the worst human being in the end. Now, you've bubbled up this like deep-seated like thing. I probably need to go see a therapist for.
Nah,
is like
we can't afford that yet. We got to put all the money back into the company.
Oh God, that is bad. That is fucking real bad. You brought up Mason Crosby. He's a complete and utter bag of.
All right. Well, now we both think that.
Yes.
So if you're watching the show, Mason, we don't even want you on the show.
Yes.
All right, I'm also looking forward to Antonio Brown. I have him on my team. You think I should maybe start him? It's tempting. I got to admit. And also, I mean, people are offering me stuff for him. People are interested in Antonio Brown. People want to be in the Antonio Brown business. You think if he comes back and he's like Antonio Brown 2 years ago, you think he'll be the best receiver in the NFL?
I
kind of don't think. I think the competition's maybe a little better now. I mean, I don't know. Like, has he met DK Metcalf?
Right.
Has he met prime DeAndre Hopkins?
Right.
Like, I don't know, man. There's some really, really good guys. And Antonio Brown's great. I mean, he could be on that level.
Yeah, exactly. That's the crazy part is he could be on that level and he was on waiver wires. So like that's the insane thing with him. And as we called it week 4, pick this guy up, stash him. We've been saying it for a while. That's going to go down as one of our best predictions.
He's not, and the thing is, I know I'm not telling anyone anything they don't know, but it's not like he's, he was desperate to get back in the league, and so some shitty team gives him a shot, like the Jaguars. Oh, we'll give him a shot. We're going to let Jake Luton throw the ball down the field to him. I mean, he's getting in there with Tom Brady and a legit, really good offense. Tom Brady's 43. He's still a really good quarterback.
Right.
I mean, this is a pretty great situation. I agree with your higher pick on this.
He cited too, like I chose them one because of the familiarity with Brady, the quarterback, the best of all time, but also he's played with Arians. Arians was his offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh. So Arians knows how to use him. He's used him successfully. The wide receiver coach, Antoine Randall, like he said, I picked this team for my familiar surroundings, which just shows more maturity from Antonio Brown than you'd ever expect based on like what he did last year. His head seems on straight. He's just like saying all the right things. And to your question, could he be the best of the best? Like, I think it's too congested there to like allow the volume for him to be a DK, to be a DeAndre. But if you told me he was top 15 from here on out, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
I think there's a great chance that could happen.
Yeah.
And again, we got this guy for nothing.
And he could lead the Bucs. He might be the best Bucs receiver come the end of the year. Like for these from here on out, he might score more than any other Bucs receiver. Very, very possible.
All right, let's go to the other side. The guy you're lower on, DJ Moore. I think he's come by this honestly. You got him as your wide receiver 27. That's 9 spots below the expert. How could they have him at 18?
I don't get it. I don't get what, like, I understand. I was high on the guy entering the year too. Sometimes you just have
week 9. You gotta put up at some point.
You have to prove it to me at some point. The Chiefs are great against every position, but in particular, those slot receivers, the short game, they lock it down. They lock down big plays. The Chiefs are just a scary ass team, but especially on defense. And then you got DJ Moore. 5 of his 8 weeks, he's been below the wide receiver 27. He's been wide receiver 40 over half of his games or below. How are we ranking this guy in our top 20 still? I wish he was – the talent's there. If we're talking about just sheer talent, of course it's still there, but Robbie Anderson's their number one. I don't know how anybody hasn't gotten that through their head. If you don't know that yet, Robbie Anderson's by far – he's out-targeted him in every single game until like one. It's the Robbie Anderson show. Now we got Curtis Samuel siphoning touches, seeing more looks last week, being used more creatively than DJ Moore is. He might be the third. And now you got Christian McCaffrey coming back too. And we're expecting this guy to somehow be the wide receiver 18. He's had a few big plays. And if he hits one of those big plays, he's going to beat this ranking. But he's hit those big plays 3 times this year, 3 out of 5. I'm going to side on the majority here of his games, especially given the defense he's playing. There's no way he's above wide receiver. Again, wide receiver 18. Fuck that. No way.
Nope. All right, this is a guy. I'll let you just do the whole thing on this because you were talking him up at the beginning of the show. You said you had yourself a serious Hail Mary pick, so I'm not even going to steal into your thunder. Take it away.
Love me some Darnell Mooney, Chicago Bears receiver, only 8% owned, 5% started right now. Think he's gonna light it up for at least 15 points this week, maybe even 20. He's been just dominating, routinely getting open deep. And Nick Foles has been sailing it and missing him. And it's been awful.
He's so bad. Don't you think they should go back to Trubisky?
Maybe.
I kind of think they should.
Like, at least he can run, Yeah. They're both so bad. Yeah. Darnell Mooney is, over these last 5 weeks since Foles took over, number 3 in air yards behind only Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill right now. Above DK Metcalf, above, Robbie Anderson. This guy's number 3 in terms of air yards. So he's going deep. He's getting
Allen
targeted.
Robinson's on the list too.
What's that?
Allen Robinson's on the list too.
Exactly. They're slinging it.
Look at them. They're slinging the ball.
They are.
They don't throw it very well, but man, they're slinging it. And
that's the end of the day is you don't get points for just air yards. Like it's a sign of things to come usually. With Nick Foles, we can't guarantee it's going to come. But this man has 4.38 speed. Darnell Mooney was often compared to a Tyler Lockett, a John Brown type. And last week it finally kind of clicked. 6 for 69 and a TD. Wide receiver 18. And then you get the Titans. So just in terms of his own usage, what's been going on, like it's all been really good. If he had just connected on one or two more long balls, we would have probably been looking at like the monster pickup of the week that everyone has to go get. But because he's only had one real good game with all this crazy usage, he's still under the radar. But I think this is another one where he connects because the Titans on the season give up by far the second most points to wide receiver twos, plus 6.4 points of your expected production. And over the last 5 weeks in particular, they've given up even more, plus 7.5, the most against wide receiver twos. And it's not like they're good against wide receiver ones. I think Allen Robinson can still have himself a decent day. It's just that I think Darnell Mooney, again, will also have himself some nice stats. I really like this guy. Seeing, again, almost 7 targets a game, such deep volume. I think he's going to connect on a nice long ball against the Titans, especially if the Titans put up the points like I think they do. Love this guy as a Hail Mary. I couldn't feel stronger about him.
All right, cool. Let's move on to tight ends. Guy you got as your higher, number one higher tight end. This guy better put up at some point. Like this better be the time because, man, he's worn out his welcome fast.
Yeah.
After being pretty awesome for a brief period of time. Jonnu Smith, you got him as your tight end 6. That's 4 spots above the experts. What do you think?
It's been hideous. 2 points, 2 points, 5 points the last 3 weeks. But let's not forget 14, 24, 11, and 21 the first 4 weeks. 5 touchdowns in 4 weeks. The dude was balling out. And I get that a lot of that coincides with A.J. Brown being out. Like, yeah, that's going to play a role. Yep. Corey Davis was out for some of that. Now they're both back, and he's kind of disappeared. But Chicago gives up a ton to tight ends. Their top 5 matchup for tight ends. They're very good against wide receivers. Not good against running backs. Not good against tight ends. To me, this game screams Derrick Henry. They get down deep, and I think Jonnu finds Pater at least once, maybe twice. And with how barren tight end is, I'm ready to go back to him. Tight end 6, 4 spots higher than the ECR. Give him another shot, folks.
My buddy Will Massey, who's a listener of the program and who does comment from time to time, he was really living high on the hog about a month ago. He was sitting there with 2 of the top 3 tight ends in football and was like shopping one of them around. He was shopping Jonnu around, trying to get top dollar for him. Sitting there, he's like, I can afford to shop Jonnu around because I got George Kittle. Well, now, so imagine a month ago having Jonnu and George Kittle and thinking you're on top of the world, and now you just are holding a steaming pile of dog shit in your hand, with nothing to show for it. So that you better move those guys when you can, because now you got nothing. Mark Andrews, your tight end that you're lower on, you got him as your tight end 10. The experts have him all the way up at 3. That's a huge discrepancy.
It is, and I understand why they're so high. Mark Andrews is one of the very few tight ends that can just go 2 scores, pay dirt, spiking into the end zone at any given point. But he has not really been doing that all that often. He has got 3 blow-up games of 23, 21, 18. Otherwise, it's a worse Jonnu. Jonnu's had more high-point games than him, 4, 5, 4, and 6. Just non-existent. And now we're getting a Colts team that has been the best against tight ends, literally averaging 3 points per game. Tight ends are against them. It just feels like another disappearing game for Mark Andrews. I get why he'd be high because of the upside, but if that's the logic, then Jonnu Smith should be tight end 3 too. Like he's kind of a glorified Mark Andrews, a glorified Jonnu at this point. In a worse matchup this week. So give me Jonnu over him. Give me a lot of tight ends over Mark Andrews this week.
All right. You've already mentioned your Hail Mary. You've mentioned Jordan Reed, or if he's out, Ross Dwelly, because we mentioned George Kittle's out, and the 49ers are just in absolute shambles. But you like Jordan Reed, maybe? You understand if someone breathes on him wrong, he's going to get a concussion, right?
Exactly. I think there's a decent wind gust tomorrow, which has
if winds are more than 4 miles an hour coming out of the northwest, you better not put that guy on the field.
No, I'm terrified, to be honest. But I'm starting Reed or Dwelly, whoever it ends up being tomorrow night. I have Goddard out there. Dude, my other options like Dawson fucking Knox. So
all right, fine. Maybe
words of trouble. Reed did have a 50-yard, 2-touchdown day, 7-target day last time filling in for Kittle. Then he got hurt the next game.
Of course, he got hurt.
Shocking.
You're not gonna get like more than a game out of this guy in a row.
I'm hoping
if he plays the game, he's gonna be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Definitely. I just need one.
That's true. All right, that's fine.
Green Bay, they're good against tight ends. They're, I think, the 4th fewest points to tight ends. But at this point, who do they have to throw to? I had this as the Hail Mary without Aiyuk out. Now Aiyuk's out. They literally, I honestly don't know who their wide receivers are going to be. It's Trent Taylor.
JJ Stokes.
Yeah, probably. I honestly, JJ Stokes. I literally have no fucking clue. They're going to have to throw to the tight end for any type of volume. I mean, it's going to be McKinnon, I guess, but
my boy.
I don't know. That's it. There's nobody else to throw to, and I'm just praying that Reed doesn't get knocked over by the wind and tear his ACL. That's really it. And if he's out, then Dwelly's going to catch a touchdown. He caught a touchdown last time. Mullins likes his tight ends. Again, Kittle averaged 19 points with Mullins, only 11 with Garoppolo. That might be more of a Kittle stat than it is just like Mullins loves his tight ends, but Mullins likes his tight ends. I think it is also Mullins likes his tight ends too.
All right, fine. We'll go with Jordan Reed or Dwelly.
All
right, let's get into our hypothetical of the week. I didn't have one last time we went on, so I'm going to bring something back with you. We're going to start this one the same way that I've started a lot of them, which is, you've been out partying, gotten really hammered, and for whatever, meth, alcohol, everything in between, you're cruising around having a great time, just trying, picking up football players in the bar, checking them out, doing whatever it is you do. But anyway, in the course of your evening, you for some reason, do major damage to a mafia don, a very prominent mafia don, in Beverly or wherever you happen to be. And you mess up his Bentley really bad. I mean, it's very expensive. Again, we just don't have the money to pay for this sort of thing, but he's in a weird kind of a mood, as he is every time this happens. And he says,
I feel like I've messed up this guy's car a couple times now.
It might be a different guy. You might be in a different city, but this stuff just keeps happening to you. If it's the same guy, he's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And creative.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy, he's like, all right, well, you owe me this money. You're not going to be able to pay for it. But I got 2 propositions for you. The first one is I got these 2 buddies here that are looking to kind of get into the life coach business. And they're going to work in tandem as a duo and shadow you all the time. And they're going to make every decision for you in your life for the next, say, like, I'm going to say year and a half, let's say 18 months. They're going to everywhere. You're not going to be able to do anything without consulting these guys. And then they're going to discuss it amongst themselves. And they're going to tell you the right decision to make in any given situation. And these are my friends. These are Adam Gase and Anthony Lynn. And they're going to be in charge of your life and all the decisions made in it. So it would be annoying having anybody do that, but these are the guys that are going to be in charge of making those decisions and hopefully steering you in the right direction.
The worst possible.
Yeah, it's terrible. They're going to, and not only that, they're going to have to talk it out and stuff. They're going to have to come to consensus between the 2 biggest morons in the world. So that's the first thing. That's one option that'll get you out of getting killed. The other option is if you look over to the left here, there's a doorway that leads out into the street. It's about 55 yards away. If you look over there, 100 yards from that door is DK Metcalf. He's really angry. So you could take off sprinting right now and try to get out that door 55 yards away. And if you can, that's great. We'll just say, see you later. Maybe we'll even have a drink. But if he catches you, we're going to let him beat the ever-loving shit out of you for 5 minutes. You can try to, 4 minutes, let's say. You can try to fight back. But he's really pissed off. Like he's gonna
try to fight back.
He's gonna run after you. He's gonna run after you with his arms flailing like a fucking jackhammer, like he chased that fucker down in the Cardinals game. So those are your 2 choices. You can be coached by the 2 biggest idiots in the world in every aspect. You would certainly lose your job and your girlfriend and everything else immediately. How long do you think your girlfriend would stay with you if to do anything with her, you had to consult Anthony Lynn and Adam Gase?
I mean, I'd like to think I've built up some decent goodwill, but if anyone's going to ruin that in like a day, it would be these two. Like, no doubt about it, Anthony Lynn and
she would get so tired of it. I've not met your girlfriend. I'm sure she's really cool. She would get really sick of this really fast. And the more I think about this, I can't let DK beat you up for 5 minutes. He would kill you like long before then. So let's say 2.5 minutes of just unbridled ass kicking. Again, you can fight back if you want.
I feel like ultimately though, like I got to go for the one. Like I'm not going to out sprint it. Let's be real. I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to get there. We just outrun Buda Baker by like 50. Like I don't even make it 10 yards before this guy is galloping.
He's running hard. He's mad.
And I'll admit, I've had nightmares, like actual nightmares of DK Metcalf running me down. Like legitimately after that play, I thought of him that night. And nights since then, I had to like outrun DK Metcalf. So this is not the first time I've considered this.
Right.
And I didn't think there was much I would ever choose to like to I would want to avoid that at all costs. I'm not outrunning him. He's going to be beating.
Can you imagine him actually beating you up angrily? I mean, he seems like a really nice guy.
Can I imagine? Yeah. Like he's terrifying. Yes, I can. But I gotta just take my lumps though. Like if I'm looking at 18 months, how I can't live.
What if it was a year? What if I said a year? 12 months.
Either way, 5 months. I don't know. I don't think I could do even half a year. Like because think about it. Like you're not. There's a certain point where you're either going to just like have to die because of something bad they tell you to do, or like you just can't live with them anymore.
Right. They're going to be like, they're going to tell you to go for it in some situation that you'd have to be insane to go for it in.
Right. Exactly. Or they're just going to say never go for anything and be ultra conservative and never get anything out of your life as well. Like either way,
Roto Street Journal would grind to a stop.
Oh yeah. Everything that I've ever like enjoyed in my life would end. Whereas DK would end everything I've enjoyed probably forever, but maybe I live through it and I'll recover in a few months and I'll be okay. Like then I have a cool, badass story that helps everything good in my life, like, elevate. Whereas I'd rather like that quick, probably over, but maybe I don't die from 2 minutes with DK. That could boost my life afterwards. My life is just going straight to the tank. And then anybody that's like, you had that guy as your life coach, nobody respects me anymore. Like there's no coming back from that. The rest of your life is fine.
You got to figure the fight with DK is over in like 4 seconds.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm just out cold from the majority of it. And like,
but being out cold and then being throttled and beaten for 2 minutes.
It's terrifying.
That's how you die.
I'm waiting. Fair again.
I mean, there's a reason in UFC fights that once the guy is like out, the ref's like, okay, he's had enough.
Yeah, DK's not going to give me enough.
Okay, all right. CJ is there, and after 30 seconds, he can try to break it up.
Yeah, great. CJ is going to try to break it
Come
up.
on, DK. Come on. Right, CJ can tackle DK after 30 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah. So CJ and me are both dead. Like then we got two corpses.
Right. Then RSJ really is over.
Exactly. No, I'm all right. I'm taking the beating because either way, I think Anthony Lynn and Gase as life coaches is leading to death. Whether it's like I can't stomach waking up anymore, and I just pull a Tom and jump out the window, or they just lead me to a decision that leads to death. Or if they're gone in a year, my life is going to be in such shambles, I probably won't be able to ever get back to where I was. So DK, I'll take the 2 minutes and hope he just doesn't kill me. That's it.
You seen the movie 1917?
Of course, it's a great movie.
That's Tommen,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the last movie I saw before the quarantine.
Yeah, I saw it in IMAX. It was dope.
It was awesome. Yeah, I saw it too, and then didn't do anything for like 6 months after that. All right, that's it. That's the hypothetical. I agree. I would take the DK beating, but man, I would just be so scared. I'd be like peeing in my pants as I was running.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'd be like turning over my shoulder, like yelling and crying that I was sorry. Like hoping that he would I would go for just being as pathetic as possible.
Yeah.
Like, and just hoping that the guy was like, oh man, like
there's no fighting back.
Like, right. I would just be like,
I have a family. They love me.
Seriously, I have a family. I have a wife. Don't take their father away from him. And hopefully you would just be like, man, you're pathetic.
Right.
And let me live. All right, let's do it. Let's do the mailbag. Mitch Chavez, my dudes. What's up,
My
Mitch?
dude. Mitch is the band. Every show.
Aiyuk just got put on COVID. I know. That's who we opened the show with. The Wolf was all bent out of shape about it.
Fucking sucks.
Cody Hoxie traded Zeke for Keenan Allen.
I like it.
I actually don't mind that, Cody.
That's very fair. Like, if you're getting that type of value for Zeke, you've done a good job.
I also saw on the schedule thing at the end, not only is Zeke shitty, he's going to probably get shittier.
Exactly.
Omar F. Wolf and Truth. My guys, I'm in a pickle with the 49ers situation. Yeah, I'll bet you are. I picked up Mullins in a 2-quarterback league, already playing Ben. Locke is on waivers until Friday. Do I pull Mullins and risk a donut?
Is there's nobody else you could get?
I guess it's a 2-quarterback league. So, I mean, depending on the size of the league, like there really might be almost nobody on waivers.
You could probably get even like Cooper Rush, though. Put the porn star in. Like, I wouldn't like that. Although
Always be worse than Cooper Rush.
You might actually end up getting negative points if you play Cooper Rush, though. But
and an STD.
Yeah,
not a TD, an STD.
I think you got Locke. I'm into Locke. I would go for that. Is there any other option, Omar? Like if you miss, because Mullins really like there has to be a Kyle Allen, like a Darnold, like Foles. If there's truly
You're
nothing,
making me feel like I need to take a shower. Like those are such gross names. You just
awful.
That's just terrible. Talk TC Sports. You homies like Phil Lindsay or Breida this week? I probably like Phil Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay's been getting it done. I mean, Breida's the volume bet. Let's see him practice. Let's see him get going and endorse as the starter though before we approach him.
Ray Gamer. Hey, nice KK Slider logo. Marvin Jones versus the Vikings or Deontay Johnson versus the Cowboys for my wide receiver 2 spot and standard scoring league. Come on, Ray. Don't do standard scoring.
Standard joke. Just hideous. I would have said Marvin Jones, I think, but with the COVID news and Stafford potentially out of the lineup, and then you got Deontay against the Cowboys, probably going to see his usual 10 targets. Yeah, I would probably go Deontay there.
I'm going Deontay, and I would have gone Deontay even if Matt Stafford was playing.
Yeah, all right. There you go.
Omar F., if I miss out on Locke, I'm pretty much screwed. He's the only guy worth picking up and starting. Wow, man. Doesn't it just make you feel when you look at the waiver wire? I mean, this is a 2-quarterback league, so it's obviously even more extreme. But isn't there just like a feeling of kind of like hopelessness and just feeling empty inside when you go on the waiver wire and you just see the trash that's on there?
Absolutely. It's like
I have to welcome one of these guys into my locker room.
It's like the degenerates like scratching tickets and like drinking booze outside of like a store, and you're just like,
that's a great analogy.
Exactly. Like that's what you feel like when you're going to the waiver wires. You're picking up a scratch ticket, you're drinking a little booze outside, you're getting a roll of scratch tickets, and then you're just kind of spiraling downward.
Also, it's like you have like $6 and you like want a prostitute.
Right.
And you're just like, you're anybody. You're just kind of putting the money up in there. You're like, anybody. We can do anything. I just want to be with someone for a little while.
You need to cry.
Hold
me while I cry.
I don't care what number guy of the day I am for you. Let's do this.
Exactly. But so the deal is too, like the only guy worth picking up and starting left, like Mullins is though. There's got to be. Mullins is at the same level with no receivers at this point as like a Darnold. There has to be a Darnold, right? Like something. I don't know.
I'm not telling you anything you don't know, Omar. These are not great options. Mark Johnson, how do you feel about Thielen? Should I trade him for Robinson straight up? That's interesting.
Robinson's schedule. We were talking about strength of schedule. The Bears have the easiest schedule among receivers. And Thielen's so prone to those. If they can run it 30 times a week, the Vikings are going to run it 35, 40 times a week if they can, as we saw last week. So it's not going to happen often because that defense is so bad. But there's going to be some weeks where Thielen just disappears, whereas Robinson's like a lock for it seems like 10 targets.
I'm going to make another pro-Robinson argument. Thielen, I know this because I ran it in the 3-up, 3-down piece when I was talking about Tyreek Hill. Thielen is very touchdown dependent. He scores on an extremely high percentage of his catches. I think 1 out of every 5 balls he's caught this year has been a touchdown. Touchdowns are by definition, a little bit fluky. It's hard to bank on them. Whereas Robinson is, I mean, they're both top 10 guys as far as wide receiver by numbers. I'm pretty confident of that. Robinson has just been very consistently putting up his points no matter what. Yeah. And I mean, look who's throwing to him. He's still doing it. When he went against the top Rams, the top Rams guy that had shut everyone else down, he still had an okay game. I mean, he still had 10 or 11 PPR points even in that situation, which was more than the other wide receiver ones. I would probably feel better about Robinson. You think so too?
I really do. I mean, since Foles took over, 28, 23, 19, 10, 11, 21, no duds, some blow-ups, and then he's got Tennessee green, Minnesota green. When I say green, I mean joke matchup. Green Bay is a tougher one. Detroit, Houston, Minnesota, Jacksonville to round out the playoffs. 3 straight, 14, 15, 16, all green. Like, the calendar's there. Everything.
Imagine if his quarterback starts playing well.
Right. Imagine. Like, I can't wait till he's a free agent next year and he finally gets to a good quarterback. Although he turned down the Packers for the Bears, so that's on himself.
Yeah, that is on himself. Bill Jiggy. I know. That was on purpose. I knew. Wolf, you are a mid-round wide receiver guru every season. I have Julio, Thielen, and Lockett all producing. Yeah, no shit. Those are all pretty good guys. But Claypool, Aiyuk, and Rhaegar on the bench. Nice options. Would you try to flip one of the starters to bolster some suspect running backs or just ride the hogs as far as they will take me?
Love riding a good hog.
Yeah, man.
Not opposed to that. But ultimately, I think with that depth, you got to try to make a move. I know your running back situation, Jigs, is quite hideous. You got to make a move. You're looking at like the Julio, Thielen, Lockett's. You're looking at like a high-end RB2, low-end 1 for those guys. Claypool, Aiyuk, Rager, low-end. Like Claypool and Aiyuk, particularly a low-end RB2, mid-range RB2, Rager, like a flex guy. I would try to probably move one of those big guys and get yourself a nice art. Like if you can package a big guy and a running back and get like a high end, you can't get a Cook or a Henry, I imagine, but you could get yourself a top 10 running back. Look for like James Robinson, right? James Robinson for Lockett, something of that nature. I would be going for.
This is good advice. I like the advice you're giving in a vacuum. In my league, you come up with something like that, nobody will trade with you. Like we all hate each other. We've all known each other our whole lives, and nobody will ever trade with anybody. So it's like all this great trading advice and stuff. I'm just like, well, if I made that offer to somebody in my league, they'd tell me to go fuck myself. I would say that back probably. Really, yours too? I think we've had like one or two. You want to know what Will Massey offered me for Antonio Brown?
Yes.
Devin Singletary.
Oh my God, what an asshole! That's embargo. I don't trade with you the rest of the year.
It was a real asshole offer. And he's like, oh, running backs are overvalued. So I thought maybe you'd value them. It's like, you're going to offer me like a terrible running back that's the second best running back on his team for a guy that could be like a top 10 wide receiver like next week.
Well, that's a prick.
Yeah. Devin Singletary for Antonio Brown. Put it up on the bad trade board. Anthony Acosta, Jordan Reed, Jonnu, or Graham?
Going Jonnu.
Jonnu, right?
Yeah, Jonnu's my hire of the week going with him.
Matt Nemat. Is Mike Thomas playing this week? I think so.
Seems so. He's practicing. So, he practiced last week, got ruled up, but it was all limited. It seems like he's been getting in fulls this week. So, yeah, I think he will.
You guys going to answer our questions or keep fingering each other?
Well, that's the last time we ever answer a question. Nemat.
I don't know. I can't. We're not in the same room. We can't do that.
I wish I could.
I know, seriously. Swaggy Thomas was limited today. Matt Nemat. There you go.
Yeah, he was limited last week. Go fuck yourself, Matt Nemat.
Trey S. Full PPR, pick 2. Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks, DeAndre Swift, or Devin Singletary. Thanks, guys. Not Devin Singletary.
No.
We just got done trashing on the air.
I lean Deontay Cooks. I like Deontay and Cooks here. Swift is intriguing, but he's still like hit or miss right now. Both Deontay and Cooks are in some nice matchups this week.
I'd go with them too.
This guy says Swift and Cooks for him. How do you bench Deontay against Dallas though?
It's funny. If I had gotten rid of one of Johnson and Cooks, it probably would have been Cooks actually.
Yeah.
Joe B. Dexter Williams if he plays, or Chark at flex half PPR. Dexter Williams being brought up again on the pod.
I have a hard time going Dexter unless he's like endorsed as the starter, the every down guy. I don't like Chark, but we do know that Luton or I don't even know how you say the motherfucker's name is going to be airing it out downfield.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I got to just go Chark and hope he somehow has a rapport with the guy. Unless we get some good Dexter Williams praise tomorrow.
When Luton or Lutton is being enshrined in Canton in 15 or 20 years, we're going to look back on this and laugh.
Yeah.
Swaggy says, I traded AB for Diggs earlier today. You know, that's interesting. The guy that is interested in Antonio Brown has Diggs on his team, and I thought about maybe making that offer. And I think he wouldn't take it. I think he's looking at Antonio Brown as like a possible blow up, whereas Diggs is very much a proven commodity right now. I think you made a great deal, Swaggy.
Absolutely. That's if AB ends up being what Diggs already is, then huge win. Like you're getting the floor and the ceiling, whereas AB's just the ceiling. Yeah. Yes, I love that move, Swaggy. And just real quick, guys, if you don't mind giving us a thumbs up wherever you're at, we'll get to all your questions. But it really helps us get discovered and reach more people with that thumbs up button. Shares are always appreciated. If you haven't already, subscribing on YouTube, turning on that bell for notifications also means the world too. So we can get up to that 1K before the year ends.
They call me Ruse. Hey, fellas, who do I put in my flex? This is half point PPR. Deontay the Glass Johnson or Johnny Captain Underwhelming Taylor. Hashtag shit's weak. Love this question.
I'm going the Glass. I love Todd Roos. I'm going the Glass, though. There's no Captain Underwhelming in the lineups, no doubt.
Nope. Marcos Valdez, Hasty or David Johnson, half point PPR. I don't know. It's week 9. David Johnson's basically moving in slow motion at this point.
It's how it goes, but he still keeps getting it done. Like he keeps finding the end zone. I believe he's got another tasty matchup this right. I don't pay too much attention to David Johnson because he's a slug, but Jacksonville, another good matchup. The 5th most points allowed to running backs. Like you just got to keep riding that slug and letting him fall into the end zone.
Fair enough. I don't follow him either. Edwards isn't running on the Colts, Swaggy says. Okay.
But you would have probably said the same with the Steelers, who had a better run D coming into last week. I don't know. And no work in the receiving game. He's hating my Edwards call, but he's going to find the end zone. For a 14% started guy, I'm telling you.
If he's wrong, you can blast him next week, Swag.
Blast me, Swags. Okay.
Noah, Claypool, Antonio Brown, DJ Moore, Antonio Gibson, Damian Harris, DeAndre Swift. Pick 3. I like Brown. I like Gibson.
I like Gibson. I like Claypool. Yeah, I like too. Harris. You got some good. These are tough options. I like a lot about all of these guys, Noah.
I'm going Brown, Claypool, and Gibson.
I'm gonna go Gibson. I like Harris against the Jets, but like. Oh, why does that keep going? There we go.
I mean, I do too, but
I'm going Gibson, Claypool, Brown. I'm gonna go Brown for Harris.
You can't leave Brown. You can't leave Brown on the bench. Come on, man. Nah. Angel, can I trust J.K. Dobbins, PPR league, Dobbins or Damian Harris? I like Dobbins there. I mean,
I do like Dobbins.
I do see your argument for Harris, but
yeah, and just to give the argument for Harris, I do prefer Dobbins, but. The Jets suck, one, but also that's the type of game script where Harris, if they get up early, Harris won't leave the field. So that could be like 100-yard 2 TD day for Harris. He looked really good against the Bills.
Isn't Dobbins averaging like 6.5 yards a carry?
Yeah, he leads the league in yards per clip. He's unbelievable. Yeah. I'm going Dobbins, yeah.
Jackson, I'm in a dynasty league, and these are my running backs. Chubb, Connor, JT, and Zach Moss. I was thinking of trading JT for a top-tier wide receiver or running back before his trade value goes down. What do you guys think? I think it's a great idea if you can get a top-tier wide receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this regime is not going to ride him this year, why are they going to suddenly ride him next year? It's not Marlon Mack is out. He had every excuse to be the guy already, and he's just not. So, yeah, I'm into it.
They call me Ruse. Ribs and Blackouts might be my next fantasy football team name.
It's a great day.
Right.
It's a great day until you have Mason Crosby ruin it, my friend.
Yeah. Christiana Freeman. Hey guys, how are you? Start one PPR, Breida or Damian Harris. Also start one Hollywood or Judy. Thanks, guys. I'm definitely going Harris over Breida.
Yep. Definitely. Squeaky wheel, Hollywood Brown. I like buying low on some.
Yeah.
I mean, the secondary is good for the Colts, but not great. And Lamar has been talking about how he wants to grease up his boy this week. So,
yep.
And what has Judy fucking done? I get he gets that.
Right.
Yeah.
Lance is gone. Should I drop Allen Lazard or Brandon Aiyuk for another wideout? I have AB and Calvin Ridley, but Ridley is hurt. I could see dropping Lazard. I wouldn't like to drop Aiyuk unless you absolutely had to.
Yeah, I like holding on to both these guys. Let's see what happens with Lazard tomorrow, because you could probably play Lazard if he's in. The dude had he had an 8, wide receiver 8, wide receiver 20, one dud. But in his 3 starts, he was the guy. He was the number 2 behind Adams. Very clearly. And it's not like Valdez-Scantling's done anything to take that. They didn't make any trades. So I really like Lazard rest of season. I think he's still out there in like 35% of leagues, which blows my mind. I think he has to be owned. You should check Truth if he's out there in your league, Lazard.
Would you rather have him than Jalen Reagor?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah. I love Reagor.
Blowing so much smoke up Rager's ass.
I know.
On that, I mean, you're like, this guy could turn teams around and stuff.
I think what makes me a little – I think Reagor could be great still.
You think Carson Wentz sucks?
I think Wentz sucks. And I think Fulgham's the real deal. I kept thinking like Fulgham, like, Idaho potato that's not going to be anything. And he just is the real deal. He's great in contested situation. Wentz loves him. And it's like, okay, so I'm looking at the number 2. Who do I want? The number 2 for Rodgers or the number 2 for Wentz? I want the number 2 for Rodgers.
You're making a compelling case here. All right, I'll check it out.
And I do like Reagor. It's no hate to him. It's more so that I like Lazard quite a bit.
Sam Joshi, do I try to move Taylor? That's always tough without much context.
Yeah,
but we're both a little down on him.
Yes, I don't like the situation. Everyone keeps saying buy low on him. So if you got somebody that's feeling savvy and trying to buy low, then yes, sell.
Yep.
Don't sell completely low, but if you can get like a quality wide receiver 2 or like a running back I don't buy him bouncing back. I'm not into it at this point.
Fat boy, hey, could you please rank the following: a cheeseburger, McChicken, and a filet of fish from McDonald's? I couldn't decide, so I got all 3. Wow.
I fucking love Fat Boy.
Good question, Fat Boy.
He brings the best questions every time.
I mean, the cheeseburger is so tasty. It's so little. Just a straight up cheeseburger.
You didn't go McDouble?
Or at least quarter pound or something. I mean, the cheeseburger is so small. Hey, here's something. When there was an election, I want to say it was like 1992, the election, and McDonald's had a special where cheeseburgers were 29 cents and hamburgers were 19 cents. And we went through the drive-through, and I think we ordered, it was however much money we had. I think we ordered like 45 hamburgers and 1 small fries. And there was this pause, and they were like, "Are you serious?" And we were like, "Oh yes, we're serious.
We're dead serious."
Yeah, Johnny Goodtimes was with me for that. I would go cheeseburger just taste-wise first, but it's not going to fill you up. I mean, all these are good sandwiches.
I never eat filet of fish from McDonald's. I don't know. That kind of sketches me out.
I don't eat it, but it's good. I mean, if you had to eat one, you'd be like, all right, that's pretty good. You want to think about what's in it.
Yeah, I go cheeseburger. I go the order you presented them: cheeseburger, McChicken, filet of fish. But I want that cheeseburger to be a McDouble or a quarter pounder for sure.
I'm with you. We're aligned.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I'd smash a whole pumpkin pie right afterwards.
Right.
One more F. I just looked to make sure. Only other available quarterbacks are Chase Daniel, Jake Luton. Well, he is going to throw the ball downfield more, or Garrett Gilbert. Just for context, puke. All right, you sold me. There's nobody else good on waivers.
Right. I think we got to go for Jake Luton if we don't get Drew Lock. Slinging it downfield. He's got weapons. What if he just comes out and slings all over the yard? Won't happen, but what if he does?
Fat Boy says Breida playing this week. We talked about him earlier in the show. He might.
Yeah. It seems like he's gonna. He wasn't listed with a clear injury, so it's looking like a Veterans Day of rest, but the dude also has played like 5 plays a game, so why do you need a Veterans Day of rest? I don't know. It seems like he should, but I can't promise you that, Fat Boy.
Mark Johnson, thanks, guys. No problem. Is Hollywood a bust? This is Fat Boy again. Is Hollywood a bust? I got him in a lot of leagues. I got him in my league too. He's certainly been disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm just not willing to write him off yet. Maybe I should. I think he's extremely talented. I think Lamar's talented. I think he just needs to get more targets. I wouldn't he's certainly been disappointing.
Absolutely. I mean, he's still getting open at will. There's been so many missed shots. This offense is just, you'd think it was going to open up a little bit, but it took a step backwards, if anything. And so that has obviously impacted Marquise, but he gets Indy this week. He gets New England the next week. And then he has, after that, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, giving up a ton of points to wide receivers, Dallas, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Giants, Cincy. So, I mean, his schedule after New England becomes beyond a joke. So I think we just got to ride it out. You're not going to get value for him at this point. You're not going to cut him. Let's see if he can take advantage of this, especially, again, him complaining and then Lamar Jackson saying it's my fault. Like, squeaky wheel often gets greased. And I think I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Omar F., would you sit Claypool against Dallas for Godwin if he plays full PPR?
Yeah, Godwin's just that good.
Godwin's been pretty good when he plays.
I think so. Yeah, Omar.
Brady seems to like Godwin.
He loves him.
TS, Brandon Cooks, Deontay, AB, pick 2. We just had a very similar question to this. I have Godwin and Ridley, but both are probably not playing. I'm probably going Deontay and AB.
Yep, I have those two higher. Cooks is right in there though against the Jags.
That's a tough question, man.
But like I have such a hard time leaving AB on the bench. He's got the lowest floor. Cooks will give you the safer points. If you're a big favorite, you probably go Cooks. But otherwise, you do this game for fun, and it's like, what's more fun than AB on Sunday night, first game back, probably catching a touchdown? Like, that juices you up. Yes.
He's going to catch a touchdown, dude.
That's what we're going for.
Sarah Riley, half-point PPR. Swift or Hasty?
I'm going to go Tasty. McHasty. Nobody else there. Like the lone running back gig against the easiest run D in the league that struggles with zone blocks. Give me Hasty.
Fusion. Full PPR. I got Connor and DJ at running back. Hate DJ. A-Rob and AJB at wide receiver. My flex options are CEH, AB, or Ridley if he plays. Everybody's got AB because everybody watches this show. Who do I start? Do I bench AJB? We're talking about AJ Brown, of course.
I think we got to go Hilaire one more time because he's facing Carolina. I mean, Carolina is the third worst in terms of fantasy points allowed. So many touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah,
I'm going to give Hilaire another burn. But man, if you really wanted to go AB, the gap is not that far. If your gut screams it like it screams it for me, could totally see it. But most cases, I'm going CEH.
Unreleased leaks and snippets, wide receiver, Lockett, Godwin if he plays, Marvin Jones and Antonio Brown. Pick 3, wide receiver 1 and 2, and flex. I can tell you right now, I'm benching Marvin Jones.
Yeah, me too. Even if Stafford plays, I'd rather have the other 3.
Me too. Fat Boy, I had ribs and blacked out with the boys this past Saturday after my Arkansas Razorbacks lost to the fucking Aggies again. At least you had ribs.
At least you had ribs and blacked out, right? That's all that matters, Fat Boy.
Sounds like it could have been a worse evening.
Yeah.
Rain Normsey, AB for Chubb.
Yeah, I'd take Chubb. I love AB, but
I'd probably do it. Yeah, I mean, right again, we love AB. AB hasn't played football in a year and a half or more. I mean, I don't know how long, a year
top
and a half.
7 running back while he's out there, and we just saw like Kareem Hunt was good, but
man, he was disappointing. He was on our 3 down list.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think Chubb, based on what Hunt showed, like Hunt's a good compliment. Chubb's going to be that guy right when he's back. So
that's a real value for a guy that you just snapped up off waivers for nothing, probably.
Absolutely, a low end running back one that with a nice schedule down the stretch. I like it.
Unreleased leaks and snippets. Chris Godwin was a full participant in practice also. Yeah, that just reinforces what I already thought. Zero Destroyer. AB, Allen Robinson, or AJ Brown. Robinson, man.
Yeah. So if I'm picking one, it's Robinson this week. Great matchup against Tennessee. AJ Brown would be next, and then AB would be the third there. Even though I like AB, he's clear third to those two great options there.
Fat Boy. When someone says cheeseburger from McDonald's, I assume double because the single isn't really a sandwich, it's paper. Right. That's my point.
Okay.
Like that was like, when I was like a really, really, really little kid, like that was a big deal.
Exactly. I was okay. And I was gonna say your name's Fat Boy. Like, come on, you know better.
I was shocked. I was like, this guy's not going to get enough eating a regular McDonald's cheeseburger.
So Fat Boy, here's the real deal: is knowing you. I bet you've tried this. Not really knowing you. I wish I knew you. You seem like the fucking man.
We feel like we know you.
We feel like we know you. You've tried this. I bet. Have you ever taken a McChicken, put it in between the two patties of a McDouble? It's called I think a McFuckface or something like that. It's the correct term for it. It's awesome. It's disgusting.
That's not a bad name for a fantasy team either.
Yeah, McFuckface, seriously. But put the instead of just ranking them, why not get all three? Put that chicken patty in between the two beef buns. Put a little sweet and sour on it. Now we're talking a gourmet dinner, Fat Boy. I like it. Let me know your thoughts on the McFuckface.
Fusion. Also frustrating to have to choose between Jono or Henry at tight end the last few weeks. Yeah, sure.
Henry sucks.
But Henry's terrible though. So
they both have sucked.
Don't worry about it.
At least Jono could hit a ceiling.
Yeah, Jono. He's got more upside, I think.
Definitely.
Omar F. Juju or Hollywood this week, full PPR.
I like Juju against Dallas. Juju's really been getting it going. He gets those tough yards. Like Ben's going back to him now. I feel like Juju's really gotten that ball roll. Like it's tough because I like Deontay, I like Claypool, and I like Juju. I like Juju the worst of the lowest of the three. But Hollywood's they get Indy. Like I don't know if this is going to be the week. The squeaky wheel could get greased. Brown certainly has the ceiling, but Juju's got a nice steady floor, and he's been playing well. I go Juju against Dallas.
The 23 Airman need one flex play with Galladay out. Hey, you should be glad Galladay's out. DJ Chanel, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins, or John Brown. I have Brees, Wentz, Gurley, Connor, Galladay, Godwin, McLaurin, Hunter Henry, and Robert Tonyan. But we just need to pick from one of these guys.
That's a confusing question. I'm just going to focus on the
I think I'm going to go Dobbins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Dobbins there. I mean, John Brown against Seattle could definitely go big.
I think Dobbins is going to get some real work.
Yeah, he's 56%. I mean, 66% of the snaps last week, 113 yards, just thriving in terms of efficiency, looking great. I think his workload just keeps getting ramped up. I like Dobbins. Safer, sure volume there. I like it.
Rain Normsy, should I trade away Hunt when I get Chubb?
Yeah.
It depends what you can get for him. I mean, if you can get any legit value, then yeah.
I think the time to sell Hunt is kind of past, though. People were giving up like prime wide receiver ones for him just a couple weeks ago. He just disappointed so bad.
Yep. Fat Boy. LMAO, I just did that.
Yeah, the McFuck face. I love it. His stomach is hanging, baby.
Nice.
Yeah, how did it feel? Did you put sweet and sour on it? It's the real question.
We should hang out with this guy sometime.
Yeah, where are you from? He's a Razorback fan.
He's a Razorback. That doesn't mean he's in Arkansas. It could be anywhere. It could just love the Razorbacks. Anyway, taste the Skittles. Do I drop Laviska Shenault for Zach Moss? I already have Singletary. I mean, I like Moss more than Laviska Shenault personally.
I like Moss more than I like Singletary too. So yeah, I would do that move. But definitely, I would do that move. Yeah. We got taste the Skittles with a couple more here.
All right. With Kittle on IR, TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant, Eric Ebron, rest of season. I personally like Fant the best, but probably Hawkinson is the call here.
Yeah, Hawkinson hasn't been like under 10 all year. He's so steady. He gets a touchdown every week. It's never Fant's like the best freak athlete and like highest upside. And if one of them's gonna blow the doors off in a week, it's gonna be Fant. But Hawkinson's just so steady at a position that hasn't had that. I like Hawkinson the most out of all these guys. Ebron also has a cakewalk schedule, but he's a distant third.
Nah, he's third on this list.
In my opinion, yeah.
Rain Normsy, any update on Aaron Jones?
Yeah, we talked about it at the top, right?
That was like the very first thing on the show we talked about. I mean, I think he's probably not going to play, right? I mean,
he's questionable. They were pessimistic early in the week. He got some limited in. If I'm just going on my gut, I think he plays, is my guess.
Okay. Nick King, need one flex for the future. DJ Chark, Jalen Reagor, John Brown, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins. I like Dobbins.
Yeah, I mean, Dobbins is the one trending the right way. I mean, Zach Moss isn't far behind. I like the rookie running backs. They seem to be finding their own. And then I would go Rager as the upside stash behind them, but I go Dobbins, then Moss, then Rager there.
All right. Taste of Skittles, Hawkinson with Stafford out or Fant against Atlanta. I'm still probably going Hawkinson. One thing, I mean, I know this is a stupid philosophy, but I generally use this, especially when you have a quarterback who's not that good or who is new. If they have a reliable tight end, I tend to look at that as like kind of their security blanket. They're going to dink and duck 7-8 yards. I still like Hawkinson there personally.
Yeah, me too. Stafford out. Like, I mean, yeah, your argument makes sense. But Atlanta is Atlanta. Most points allowed to tight ends. Like, this could be the Fant. I think if it's a 1 week thing, I go Fant. But if it's a matter of like, I'm picking this guy up and starting him the rest of the year too because I have Kittle out, then it's Hawkinson.
Alberto might get some of that love though.
Who will?
Alberto, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's true. Big O. Big O.
Taste the Skittles, New York Giants, Washington, Arizona, Miami defense to stream this week. Giants had 17 points last time they faced Washington. Giants defense is not bad.
They're not. But I like the Washington on the other side facing the Giants.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Their defense isn't bad, but man, their offense is.
Yeah. Give me Washington there, in my opinion.
Hawkinson's also questionable and was limited at practice with a toe injury. You're making a strong case for maybe not taking him. Who knows?
Yeah, he's going to play. He's going to be fine. Rest of season, it's Hawkinson. But if it's just a 1 week thing, I go Fant.
Pedro Rebello. Hasty, Moss, Justin Jackson, AB, start 2. AB.
I like AB and Hasty for myself.
I might. Wow, that's tough. It's a tough call for me between those 3 running backs, honestly. Yeah. I could see taking any of them. AB and
JJ. I know you like Justin.
I know, but I mean, I would take JJ over Hasty, to be honest, but I kind of like Moss.
I feel like Hasty's the only one there that I'm like, I know he's going to be getting most of the series here.
I just don't think the 49ers, I don't know if they're just going to be able to do anything. I really don't.
They might not. They
big Jerick McKinnon might, but I don't know.
That's how bad the Green Bay run D's though. Is like,
you're right.
That's the only thing you have to stop, and they're not even going to be able to stop it.
Yep.
Remember that playoff game? Like Mosher had like 300 yards against him. Like,
I do. Yes, I do remember.
Not that Hasty's going to do that, but he could go crazy. I don't even hate like a Hasty and Justin Jackson and benching AB, but I kind of want AB in there. So I
want AB in there. I want him. I'm not lying.
Are you benching Justin Jackson for AB in your league?
I haven't decided yet. I don't want to. I like Justin Jackson, but I can't have AB blowing up and sitting on my bench. I can't.
I know. I mean, JJ does get the Raiders, which is the 3rd easiest matchup for running backs. But are you guaranteeing me he's the job? Then I'm going him no matter what. I don't trust Lynn a second.
I mean, the problem is Anthony Lynn's making these decisions. We've already decided we'd rather have the shit beat out of us by DK Metcalf than allowing that to happen for us. So you're making a good argument.
Exactly.
Fusion starting Jonnu, Mike Gesicki, or Logan Thomas rest of the season. Probably Jonnu.
Yeah, it's tough, but you got to stick that one out in my opinion.
Nick King. I've Todd Gurley trying to trade for Nick Chubb. Thoughts? I don't know.
I'd rather have Chubb, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I'd rather have Chubb. Yeah.
As long as you're not in win now mode, because you might still need to wait a week or two. But yeah, I like Chubb there more.
Rain Normsey, JK or Damian Harris if Jones does not play.
I like JK. I love Harris this week. I really do against the Jets. Probably even a little safer than JK, but I love him. I love JK this week.
I'm going JK also.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys, that wraps it up. That's the last question we have. So, Wolfpack, thank you so much for tuning in, as always, interacting as always. Again, any thumbs up if you're a replay watch or whatever. Thumbs up and shares mean the world to us. If you haven't subscribed already, wherever you're at, that also means the world too, whether it's on Facebook, Rose Street Journal, YouTube. Try to get that 1K subscribers here. And you can find me at Roto Street Wolf and him at Roto Street Truth. All of our content, rosestreetjournal.com. We breed and feed fantasy wolves. And, of course, this will also be in audio format. You may have been listening to an audio format, the Fantasy Fullback Dive, where we pave your path to 2020 titles. You guys are the best. I will be back tomorrow live Thursday for my rankings update. Thursday night football kickoff. Last time I literally was blacked out on air. I don't know if you've seen that yet, Truth. It was quite a fucking experience.
I heard the rumors.
Yeah, it was ugly. It was real ugly. So anybody that missed that and wants a comedy show, my God. I've never been quite as hammered on air, but hopefully I won't be quite that bad this Thursday. No promises. We'll see. But yeah, cheers so much. Thank you, Wolfpack. I am the Wolf.
I'm the Truth.
Later, guys.
See ya.